You're listening to the 1926 podcast, episode number 1. Today, I sat down with one of our wonderful event coordinators, Marleen Ocheltree, to talk about all things wedding at Stambaugh Auditorium.
Gifted by area businessman Henry Stambaugh, the doors to Stambaugh Auditorium opened in 1926 to become a place of enjoyment, entertainment, and education for the people of Youngstown and the surrounding areas. These are the stories, performances, and conversations of artists and supporters of this historic landmark. This is the 1926 podcast.
All right, well, thank you for coming up away from your desk for a minute to talk to me.
Absolutely.
So you got your start here in music. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. So I was going to YSU, Dana School of Music, and I was in their orchestra. So we do a lot of shows here. So I just kind of, got to know some different people, started working just as guest services, and got in that way.
So you kind of knew the map of the building a little bit before you were even an employee.
Yeah, pretty well.
That must have been pretty helpful.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big building.
Yeah.
It's a little confusing sometimes.
I'm sure it can be like a big maze sometimes.
It is.
And as an event coordinator, like, you got to know like every in and out of this building.
You do. And it kind of makes it, nice. If you need to get somewhere fast, there's always like little hallways here and there you can get places. So yeah.
So what's your favorite part about being an event coordinator?
Honestly, the weddings. The weddings are probably the funnest part for me, just because, it's bride and groom's special day. You're trying to make it as nice as you can for them. It's pretty cool.
It must be nice to like be part of that special day and help them create like a lasting memory and
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's cool, because each one's unique too. So it makes it special each time.
Well, as part of that like uniqueness, we're just into 2020. What are some 2020 wedding trends that you have seen so far?
You know what? I've seen, at least this time of the year, a lot of like black and white with gold. That's like color theming. Obviously, it's 2020, so we got the whole 1920s vibe going on. So that's definitely a thing.
Yeah, I remember the setup for the New Year's Eve wedding that we had. It was 20s themed. What was that like? I didn't see really that cool. Aftermath. I saw the setup, though.
Yeah, you know what? The ceremony that happened that day, they were, dressed like they were straight out of the 1920s. It was super cute. And then the reception that was set up, they actually brought in a ton of, props, different things like that. Made it like a 1920s speakeasy kind of feel. So it was really, really neat.
Yeah, I saw some of the little sets they had. You could go in and take different pictures in different areas. So,
little lounges
really cool.
too. It was really neat. Very cool.
Very cool. So, as far as trends, I personally love the rose color and the champagnes and, it doesn't need a ton of decoration.
It doesn't. The Crispin Hall, it's like, it has that, like overall rose and then the gold, just accents like that. Yeah, that alone, it's pretty ornate, so.
What have you seen? Like, what is the best combination that you've seen so far?
Oh, there's been a lot. There's been a lot of really pretty. My favorites are honestly the more simple ones.
I agree.
Because you don't need to overdo. You can, but you don't have to. The lighter colors, like more mauve, rosy pinks, that kind of thing, blush. Those are pretty big right now.
Yeah.
And mix it with gold or anything like that. So yeah.
And saying that, the building as it is, being, looking the way that it does, a lot of people think of Stambaugh and think of the great photo opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
So, I personally love the lobbies. The lobbies are my favorite. What's one of your favorite locations for a photo op?
Honestly, the stairs outside of the Crispin Hall, leading up to the 3rd floor, they're like perfect with the windows. So many brides and grooms take pictures there. It's a great spot for that.
So, what did you know about wedding planning before this position?
Very little, just like, here and there helping a friend if, they're getting married, but very little. It was all just kind of learned here in the position as I was, just starting interning. Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
And what would you say, like, of the wedding planning process, what's your favorite thing to get into with the couples?
Honestly, there's really every step of it, there's like different little things that it's pretty cool to help them with, just like seeing their reaction to the building the very first time they come in. It's like, whether it's a good fit for them or not, just making, even closer to the day of, making sure that, everything's unique to them, like whatever little special touches they want to put on it. That's pretty cool.
So how far, I obviously have never experienced this part of Stambaugh Auditorium, but how far does the event department go into the planning process and helping the bride and groom?
We try to go as far as they want us to go. So, like, if they want us real hands-on, as much help, a lot of them, it's, first time, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what all goes into it. So, we'll walk them through, by this time you should be having this done, that kind of thing. Even the day of, we'll help set up prior to the ceremony or the reception, just making sure little things while they're getting ready, just making sure they have everything they need, stress-free, they don't have to think about anything but going down the aisle and getting married.
Yeah. Speaking of stress. So everybody knows, like, the cliche of this stressed out bride.
Oh, right.
Is that typically like the most stressed out person, or do you tend to see others in the wedding party a little bit more stressed out?
You know what? It's always a little bit different depending on the personality, but mothers of the brides, they got a lot on their plates at that point. So it's they're typically the ones taking care of stuff so that their daughter doesn't have to worry about it. That kind of thing. Yeah. Sometimes the maid of honor, she same kind of thing, just trying to help out. Kind of puts a lot of stress on you. So
yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine all of the stress involved. So I know personally working in like a hospitality type field. I've been a bartender before. I've been a server at restaurants before, and I have had a work-related nightmare. And you wake up like in a cold sweat. Like I know I've forgotten to go to work, or I'm in the weeds and I need help, and I've forgotten about this table and I don't know what to do. And you're like in a panic, and you're like, oh, I was dreaming about work again. Yeah. Have you had that kind of crazy work-related nightmare before?
Yeah, there's a couple different things, I guess, that could go wrong. It's like, oh man, we always have two event coordinators, or an event coordinator and assistant, whenever we send the bride down the aisle, and then the other one will stand with the groom, the officiant, or all the guys if they're back in a room, and send them out. Well, it's like we'll radio to each other, to make sure that we know it's time to send the other person out. And it's like, if you don't have your radio, oh my goodness, that would be like, that would be the worst. So that's kind of like the overall thing.
I know. How would you even go about that? Just screaming down the aisle.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Here comes the bride.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
So we can't really talk about weddings in Youngstown without bringing up the cookie table, the Youngstown cookie table.
Of course.
So what are your thoughts? Yay, nay, how do we feel about the cookie table?
Oh, of course, you gotta have it. So. And you know what? Even if you don't have a cookie table necessarily, it's like some kind of like little dessert hodgepodge that you got going on. So in one way or another, brides and grooms, they have, they'll have like a donut wall mixed in with the cookie table, just doesn't have to be big, can be small, but yeah, it's definitely a Youngstown staple kind of thing. Yeah.
So what's your favorite kind of cookie?
Oh, you know what? It's kind of lame. It's just plain old chocolate chip, but it does it. It does it.
I get you. I feel you on that one.
Yeah. How about you?
I really like my mom calls them peanut butter blossoms.
Oh.
So they're the peanut butter cookies with the Hershey Kiss.
Oh my goodness, yep.
Yeah. I don't know
amazing.
if that's like the proper name, but she calls them peanut butter blossoms.
There you go.
Makes them sound fancier.
Right. That's great.
Well, thank you for talking with me. I hope our listeners enjoy this.
Yeah.
And I know the next time I want to pull you away from your desk, I can bribe you with chocolate chip cookies.
There you go. Promise I would do it, definitely.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.